So today is more imaginary things, complex numbers. Let's find out who's going to roll. Although there might not be a ton of questions to answer. 17 is Bryce. Bryce, do you want to roll?
Sure.
Okay, you look like you're thinking about this one a lot.
It's very important to do. So forget your words.
Well, what are you doing here?
What's up?
You're trying to scoot forward already.
Yeah, they were a little tight. I mean, I can't fit.
You're crunching my room up here.
Yeah, well, I don't really like to take this.
It's not about you.
Ooh, Darren.
It's about me.
This guy's cold, bro. Yeah, Aaron, go ahead.
I'll do it anyway.
1 out.
It's not mean. It's just facts. If it really was about you guys, they would put less people in a room so that you wouldn't be so crunched together.
That is an accurate statement.
Okay, so imaginary number things. We today's all about multiplying. Now the first page of notes. Again, I don't know. I don't know if I was just too tired when I was making these. I forgot to erase all the information, so it's all there.
Oh, right.
So I guess what we're going to do is I'll give you time to write it down, and then we'll talk about it and explain it. Yeah, it probably looks weird at first. It's all right. Just go with it.
You got me messed up.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's complex.
Is it hard or just confusing?
It's actually going to be neither.
Neither?
You'll find it okay.
Super easy. Barely any.
Not as easy as yesterday,
Oh, okay.
but not bad.
Is 3i equal to negative 1i? Just negative I.
Do you mean I cubed?
So long.
Yeah.
I cubed is equal to negative I. Yeah, I'm going to explain it.
So,
I was trying to give you time to write it down first.
I was
And let me scroll down because there's a little bit below. There we go. And again, sooner or later, we might figure out the temperature control in this room, but I'm super hot now that I'm wearing a sweatshirt. This room is traditionally colder, so it kind of surprises me.
That's so hot.
Yeah. There's a lot going on up there? Yeah.
It's like, well, like different symbols mean different things. Like,
There's only one symbol up there.
I know, but like the I squared. Never mind.
I'm curious what you meant by the alphabet.
Well, and I get it.
I mean, it's okay if it's even just how you think it in your head or something. I was just curious what that meant. Yeah, Bryce.
Shouldn't it be every power it switches from positive to negative instead of every two?
No?
Oh.
No, I do kind of get what you're saying. The reason it doesn't do it every other time is you're not multiplying by a negative number. So I isn't negative on its own. And each power you're going up, you multiply by I. So a negative number just kind of gets introduced because of what I is, not because it's negative. So if what you're multiplying is negative, then it alternates every time.
So it's a pattern then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a cyclical pattern, and that's kind of what all this is going to be based off of. So you're probably getting pretty close if you're not. I wonder if I should write on the screen instead for people gone. No, let's go with green. Okay, so I don't have it written up here, but I'm hoping you remember that I is the square root of -1. Okay? Now, if you square this, the square root and the squared cancel each other out. And that's where the -1 comes from. Is that okay? That's what the whole thing is based off of. The square root of -1 times the square root of -1 is -1. Well, I cubed is I squared times I to the first. And if I squared is -1, then it would be -1 times I, which is where -I comes from. I to the fourth is I squared times I squared. So that would be -1 times -1, which is +1. Yeah.
Do you have to know, like, do you have to remember that I squared times I squared equals 1, or can you just remember that I4 is equal to 1? Just, like, memorize the pattern rather than, like...
If you can memorize these 4, that's the only 4 answers there will be.
Okay, so...
Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, will it ever ask, like, break down what I cubed is really doing?
It's
Not
similar to what's on the right-hand side.
okay.
So after we're done with these, I guess then you probably would know what would work best for you.
Okay.
But you can definitely just memorize these 4 if you want.
Okay.
I was just more explaining where these answers came from.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely kind of individual what works best. Yeah, Sean.
Where does I to the fourth come from?
I to the fourth is the same thing as I squared times I squared, because that's where the fourth power would come from. Or I can break it down like this is what I should say. And then I squared is -1 times -1 would be +1.
What's it mean?
That way be proactive about that one. Now, why this says it repeats every 4 is because if I take I to the fourth and multiply it times I, that'd be I to the fifth. And 1 times I would be I. Like, you're just going to get the same 4 answers repeated over and over and over.
Okay, I'm just gonna explain it out loud just to see if I understand it. Is that alright?
Okay.
So for the I to the 25th, so you have 5.
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I'm just explaining the left for right now.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, you might be right on that one, but yeah, I was going to explain these next. I wasn't just assuming you guys would get this.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I was just explaining the left for right now. So the left-hand side here, this is traditionally not the kind of questions you're going to get on this. You're just going to be given questions about I's and asked to simplify it. Now, if it is something smaller like this, well, then you just answer one of these 4. But if the power is bigger than 4, There's a different method to go through. So like say I to the 12th. We know it repeats every 4 times. So what we do is we try to see how many times 4 goes into the number that's there. You don't have to write it like I did on the right-hand side. I was just kind of explaining it. So I know 12, 4 goes into 12 perfectly. And so since 4 goes into 12 perfectly, I know I to the 12th is the same thing as I to the 4th. So it's all about kind of patterns, right? Like I to the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. I could technically write 5th power, 6th power, 7th power, 8th power. 9th power, 10th power, 11th power, 12th power. Because it repeats the same pattern, if it's a multiple of 4, it's always going to have this same answer. Now what you're trying to do is figure out if it's not an exact multiple of 4, you have to know what the remainder would be, because that would tell you which one of these other 3 it is. So negative 3 times I to the 12th. Because this is a multiple of 4, it basically can be broken up into I to the 4th evenly, whether that's in your head or whether you write it down. But every time you get I to the 4th, the answer is 1. And so that negative 3 in the front ends up being the answer. So here we've got 5I to the 25th. All right? Well, I know the 5 is just going to be multiplied at the end. Now I need to figure out I to the 25th, which one of these 4 answers it's going to be. So 25th power, if I figure out how does that divide by 4, like multiple of 4. 4 goes into 25 6 times with a remainder of 1. I know, it's probably been a long time since you guys did long division. Is this how you used to write it, like remainder like that? Okay, I don't even know if they teach that anymore.
I don't remember how to do long division, if I'm being honest.
That's how I still do division.
Well, it's pretty key, so I don't know what to tell you. You can use a calculator, but the calculator is going to give you a decimal, so you'd have to know. I guess 0.25 would be remainder 1, 0.5 would be remainder 2, 0.75 remainder 3. So a calculator would still work. Because if they don't divide evenly, you're going to have a decimal answer on the calculator. But either way, remainder 1 would tell me that it's going to be the same as the first power. If you get remainder 1, it's the first one. Remainder 2, the second one. Remainder 3, the third one. You won't ever get a remainder of 4 because that goes in evenly. Does that sort of make sense? It's very difficult to tell by your facial reactions because you guys are tired on top of it. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Should I put a couple, I don't have extra problems, but I feel like I should make some. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's simplify negative 3I to the 35th power. Let's go big, because then you can't like fake how you're doing it, huh? Yeah, it's not really cheating, but we'll go with it. 2I to the. We should roll for this one.
Pick a number.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. Nah, because that could be low. Let's roll.
Okay. Am I doing this backwards?
Nope. You're doing it correct. Sometimes it doesn't pick it up right away. Well, that's fast, but yeah. There you go.
Boom.
It's weird. Sometimes it works quick.
11.
11. Ava. Give me a big number.
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, big number.
417.
The good one. That's a very good one. I like it. Okay, so negative 3i to the 35th. Okay. I know it's going to be negative 3 times something. Yes, are you trying to answer?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Three. Okay, well, because 35 is close to 36, and that's multiple of 4, so it must be 3.
I know what you're saying. I bet other people don't.
Okay, yeah.
I know what you're saying, though. You're all correct.
Yeah.
You're basically just doing the remainder in your head.
Yeah.
So 4 goes into 35 8 times with a remainder of 3. Do you guys remember how to figure out remainder? Do you want me to write that out?
Last just was
4 times 8 is 32. Subtract remainder of 3. Okay. So remainder of 3. Well, remainder of 3 would be negative I. So then I'm going to say negative 3 times negative I, which is 3i. Do you guys think you could try the second one on your own?
No can do.
Okay?
I'm confused.
So you divide it, so you do 35 divided by 4, right?
Yep.
So you get the 8, but the 8 does not matter, it's only the remainder.
This 8 technically means you're going to multiply by 1 8 times, which won't affect anything. That means there's 8 full sets of I to the 4th.
Okay,
So ignore that part.
ignore it.
Yep.
For every problem or just for the?
Yep. Nope.
Okay.
The remainder is all we care
Remainder's
about.
all we care about.
So for the next question, if 417 is a multiple of 3, right?
We only care about multiples of 4 because that's the cycle of i's.
Okay. So if it divides equally with 3, you move on, you still do 4 with the remainder.
Yeah. Yep. You do 4 no matter what.
So how is 35 the remainder of 4? How does that work?
If you take 35 and you divide by 4,
Yeah,
4 goes into 35 8 whole times,
yeah,
and then there are 3 numbers left over. Because 4 goes into 32 evenly.
yeah.
33, 34, 35 would be 3 numbers extra, so they call that a remainder of 3.
Gotcha. So that's all we care about is the remainder of
Yeah.
3?
Yep.
So if we're only ever gonna be dividing things by 4,
hmm
then why is it relevant to even write down that there's a pattern if we're always gonna be using the I to the 4th?
The pattern goes in 4s. There's 4 things in the pattern, and because it repeats every 4 times.
So, since there was the remainder of 3, that's why it's relevant, then you use the negative I.
Yes. And if 4 goes into something evenly, the answer would be 1 instead. If
So
there's a
the-
remainder,
The
it's
answer would be 1 or like
1 times whatever's
one
there.
of- So it would be just the remainder number? Or no, it would be the number that you're like,
If it goes in evenly,
yes.
a remainder of 0, you would put a 1. Is that better to say that?
Um,
I'll do some more.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So would the answer to 2I to the 417, would the answer be 2I?
I don't know. I haven't done it. We made it up. So 4 goes into 417 1 time, goes into 17 4 more times.
Remainder of 1.
Wait. You
Yeah.
said that if there's no remainder, then you just put in 1?
Yeah, because it just.
Wouldn't it be you put in 4?
Like a remainder of 4?
No, like if there's a remainder of 0, wouldn't it be like I to the power of 4, so it'd be 1?
Yeah, put in a 1.
Oh, I thought you meant like I to the power of, okay.
Gotcha. Remainder of 1 would be I. So then 2i would be the answer. Should I put a couple more up?
I mean,
It's okay. I mean,
Where did
So you're doing it on the calculator?
Yeah.
So on your calculator, it probably said 104.25.
Yep.
2.25 is a remainder of 1.
Mhm.
0.5 would be a remainder of 2.
Yep.
0.75 remainder of 3.
Mhm.
No decimal, remainder of 0.
Yeah. But where'd you get the 416?
104 times 4.
Oh, I missed this.
So I cheated the long division.
Uh,
So 4 goes into 4 once, remainder of 0. Bring down the 1. 4 doesn't go into 1, so you bring down the 7. 4 goes into 17 4 times.
Can you always cheat the long division by doing 100 and, like, whatever's on the top times what you're dividing by?
It looks to me like you're using the calculator though, right?
Yes.
Why do you care about long division then?
Well, I don't, but I, like, even with the calculator, so I did, like,
You got 104.25.
yep,
So 0.25 means remainder 1.
yeah, I know that.
Oh, go with that. It just depends which way you're doing it. I don't have a calculator, so I'm doing it longhand.
Oh, so, wait, is the 416 just part of what you were solving? I thought that's.
416 was just part of long division.
Oh, okay, then I was.
417 is the number you were dividing.
I thought it was the number that you, like,
No, it's just part of long division.
divided by I. Like, you know how at the top it says 2 times I? Never mind, just ignore it.
If I were you, just flat out ignore when I'm doing long division if you're using the calculator. So you guys are allowed to use the scientific calculators on the test.
right.
So if you're practicing it with the calculator, I would learn that method the best. If you're doing it without a calculator, that's what I'm showing because I just don't have one on me, and I'd rather show it without. But you can use one, so learn it whatever way works best for you. I can probably, write both things. Let's just put a last one up, and then we'll be done with this and move on. Because we're going to get more practice at this, just not the big powers. 8 I to the, let's have an even power. We haven't done an even one.
420.
422.
Nope. No, I'll subtract 2.
Let's just not make any dumb jokes by making it 420.
422 works just fine.
Thanks. So the 8 comes down. Is she jealous of our class? No.
I would.
I to the 422nd, I want to know what remainder would be essentially. So I'm going to take 422 and divide it by 4. Now again, if you're using calculator, you look at the decimal remainder. If you're doing a longhand, you look at R. So 4 goes into 400 once, 4 goes into 22 5 times, and a remainder of 2. So on your calculator, it should be 105.5. Remainder of 2 is the same thing as -1. So then this answer would be -8.
Making my way downtown.
I apologize, that was quite.
So 0.25 equals remainder of 1,
Correct.
0.5 equals 2, 0.75 equals 5.
Correct. Oh, I should have turned around. This is definitely much faster. Okay, let's move on. This is technically what this section is about. Like that first page was supposed to be just like the, huh? Today's a long day, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not done. Not even close.
Okay.
Okay, go. Yeah,
My dog ate my imagination,
Yeah, you
so
can't do math.
so I can't do imaginary numbers.
oh, that is rough. I
Same
apologize.
problem.
Yeah,
That's rough.
I apologize.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this is just multiplication. We just multiply it out. That part is the exact same, no different than ever before. 2i times 3,
Well, that's
6i. 2i times 5i, what's that going to become? Negative 10i squared, because you have I times I. But now that we've done that previous info a whole bunch of times, by now you know that I squared is negative 1. So I squared is by far going to be the most common one you run into, because during multiplication, that's what we see. So this becomes minus 10 times negative 1, which is plus 10. And I'm not too worried about what order you write the answer. I'm sure the correct answer is written as 10 plus 6i, but I'm not worried about that.
Wait, how'd you get the
4. That's a negative 1, written really badly. That's what you're talking about?
4? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Here, let me make my marker skinnier. That didn't help at all. That looks exactly the same.
Wait, is it a 6j plus 10 your answer? Because you can't do anything else.
What about
Depends, did you say J on purpose?
6i.
Okay,
Well, you know, it's a backwards j.
which doesn't make it a J.
So 6i plus 10 is your answer.
Yes,
Because you can't be simplified.
correct. We've simplified everything we could.
But doesn't 6i then simplify to -1? So wouldn't it be 6 times -1 is -6 plus 10, which would then.
Whoa, let's start that over.
So wouldn't 6i simplify to -1?
How come?
Because, well, it's 6, like, I squared, like 6 goes into that, which is then equal to -1, right? It's one of the remainders. So then,
No, it's a
I
square
is
root
just
of
I.
negative 1.
Oh.
I think you're thinking of powers.
yeah, probably.
So if the power's more than 4, then we try to use that remainder thing.
Okay.
So we only do that remainder stuff if the power is larger than 4, because we want to figure out which one of the pattern it would be, the cycle.
Oh, I'm not talking about remainders. Wait, I think I'm actually going crazy, so just.
Or 1 and dollar.
All right,
Yeah, thank you.
Bryce, no, that's not what you answered. No,
I'm being very supportive of what she thinks of herself.
you know,
Thank you,
Nope.
appreciate it.
yep.
Bryce.
I agree, I'm not the best role model on sarcasm.
Hmm.
Okay, let's do a last one. We don't have much left because this actually goes a lot faster than what we did at first. Okay, what we did at first was probably the hardest part for you to catch on to. This is the main portion of what we're learning today, but because you learned that part first, we're going. Liam, how do we do it? I know, that's because you were occupied. Give me some guidance, that would be much appreciated. How do we FOIL? No, what? You know how to FOIL. Doesn't matter if it's I's or X's. You still FOIL the same way. So foiling is just how you multiply 2 things times 2 things.
So we just have 5 times 4.
Correct? 5 times 4 first.
It's -6 times -6i times 3i.
That'd be the L, but that's all right. You can do it whatever order you want. But there's going to be 4 answers.
So then 5 times 3i.
Correct? That's the O.
And -6 times 4.
Correct. The order you do it doesn't matter. But if you go by FOIL, because I think a lot of people do, you do firsts, outsides, insides, lasts. Okay. Bryce, let's roll somebody. Whoa.
Man down, man down.
I got it.
Oh dear. Oh no. It's like the ball going into the street. Car.
She got it.
She did not get run over by a car. That's excellent.
She didn't get run over by a student.
28.
That can't happen.
It can happen.
Lily,
Have you seen those hallways?
That
during
works.
class?
you rescued your own number.
I know, that goal.
Okay, so Liam kind of told us the order to do this. I was hoping you could tell me what things to write down.
Okay, so 5 times 4 is equal to 20.
Good, good, good.
Inside, so 6i times 4, would that be equal to, how do you write that? Would that be to,
6i times 4.
yeah.
It's similar to an x, where you just multiply the regular numbers together and then you multiply the letters
So it'd
together.
be negative 24i?
Correct.
Okay,
It works like an x, but it actually has a number answer.
okay. And then, so first inside, outside's then, 15i?
Yep. So you're doing feel, but that's okay.
Feel.
And then, so,
Six-
negative 18i?
Very close. So this one has I times I, which would make an I squared.
Okay.
Yep, very close. Okay, Bryce, maybe slightly less speed on the spin. Well, that's not slightly less, but that will work. We'll just wait 8 minutes for oh, there we go. Okay. There we go.
3.
Wait, I don't think.
Technically two. I was
Yeah.
there yesterday.
I was going to say I don't think I totally forgot to give Tracy a number. We've been using the wrong numbers all this time.
No, I like
Jake, you're 3.
Okay.
What do I do?
Um,
It's shocking how many people are sitting on their phones and then have zero idea what we're doing.
I have no idea.
Hmm.
23 now.
That's odd how that goes together.
Yeah.
What's 24 minus 15?
So
Oh,
these two terms can go together, correct? Is that what you were trying to answer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those two terms can go together. So let's just start by doing anything. So negative 24 plus 15 is negative 9, I believe. Okay.
How'd you get 9?
Negative 24 plus 15. Because they're both i's, you can put them together.
I wrote mine down in a different, like,
Order?
yeah.
That's all right. You still have the same 4 things, correct? Yeah, that's all right. The order we write these doesn't actually matter. I mean, most people do it a certain order, but it doesn't actually matter. And then the I squared is really the only thing we have left to figure out, and that is going to turn into a negative 1.
Wait, why?
Well, you weren't here for that part.
How'd you do negative 18 again?
So anytime you have I to a power, it can turn into something else.
What didn't you just have 18 times negative 1, 20, and then negative 9i? But like, why do you have it? Wait, sorry, you're writing it down. I was just.
Oh, wait. I wrote it next to it, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, I was like,
I'm sorry. That's what you were asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just basically writing scratch work without realizing it, but I wrote it right next to the problem.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
That was very poor organization. So this turns into plus 18. And then those two can make 38. Usually you put the number first, I second. You don't have to.
That was my question.
Oh, all right. Great question. Okay, I can tell. I have some more examples to try. I can tell you guys have hit your limit. But I will warn you. I'd say half the class was on their phone this entire hour. Put your phones away. Like, think of how many people had to retake that last test. What do you think the number one cause of that is? Like, you guys are old enough to be able to put things together. Now, if you don't care, that's fine. But if you didn't care, then you wouldn't do a retake either. So start trying to make better decisions and it works better for you. We usually have time in class to work. That's a great time to go on your phone. I'm not even recommending you to go on your phone, but like, if you do, that's a good time to do it. Okay? The homework, like I told you guys yesterday, I'm just going to give you a little bit of homework on Thursday, a little bit on Friday, a little bit on Monday, and then Tuesday when I have my appointment is when I'll try to give like the main assignment for this. I'm just going to give you a little bit each day so you don't forget the things. Yeah,
So when is our test?
next 22nd and 23rd.
And when are we getting the review?
I wanted to have it by today, but I just ran out of time.
Okay.
So, as soon as I can.